Alex Turner's curiosity started as a harmless game, but within days, it turned Jefferson Middle, Lincoln High, and Roosevelt Elementary into chaos zones. One 14-year-old's clever prank escalated into a townwide emergency, leaving students evacuated, parents panicked, and authorities scrambling. What began as mischief soon became a digital storm that shut down multiple schools, and no one suspected the mastermind was just a teenager. At first, the town of Willow Creek seemed perfectly ordinary. Tree-lined streets stretched between small houses, and the school bell at Jefferson Middle School marked the rhythm of daily life. Students moved through their routines, rushing to classes or lingering in hallways with friends, while teachers meticulously prepared lessons, oblivious to the storm about to unfold. At the center of this calm was Alex Turner, a 14-year-old known for clever pranks and a sharp mind. Though Alex's previous stunts had been harmless, a surprise whoopee cushion in the principal's chair or a fake bug in the cafeteria, something had changed. A mixture of boredom, curiosity, and a desire to make a mark on the school fueled a more ambitious idea, one that would reach far beyond anything Alex had attempted before. Spending hours in the bedroom, laptop glowing under dim light, Alex explored online forums dedicated to coding and security. It started as simple experimentation, learning the mechanics of automated systems and digital protocols, but the more Alex learned, the more the possibilities expanded. Soon, the idea emerged. What if a program could control the school's fire alarms or automated announcements? What if the prank wasn't just noticed, but unavoidable, impossible to ignore? The thought alone brought a thrill Alex had never felt with previous stunts. Planning became meticulous. Every detail was considered: timing, system vulnerabilities, and how to avoid suspicion. It wasn't just about causing confusion, it was about precision, a challenge that combined intellect with mischief. Days turned into nights as Alex tested small scripts, each one a stepping stone toward the final plan. Families and friends had no idea of the growing obsession. Teachers and classmates simply saw a bright, slightly mischievous teenager who occasionally stayed up late on homework. Behind the scenes, though, the pranks that had once been harmless were evolving into a sophisticated operation. It was no longer just a joke. It was a test of skill and daring. The idea of watching the entire school system react to something Alex controlled created a sense of power and anticipation. Every failure in testing was a lesson, every success, a rush of adrenaline. By the end of the week, the plan was ready. Alex could trigger alarms and send automated announcements with a few clicks, creating a sense of panic without any physical danger. The thrill was intoxicating. What had started as idle curiosity and playful mischief had transformed into a daring scheme capable of disrupting the entire town. In Willow Creek, life would soon be interrupted in ways nobody could have imagined. And the quiet, ordinary days were about to be replaced by confusion, chaos, and a mystery that would leave everyone questioning how one 14-year-old could hold so much power over the schools. The first strike was subtle, yet shocking. Jefferson Middle School began its day like any other, students chatting in the hallways and teachers reviewing lesson plans. Then, at exactly 9:15 a.m., the fire alarms erupted with a piercing shriek that echoed through every classroom. Panic spread instantly. Students spilled into the hallways, eyes wide with confusion, while teachers struggled to maintain order. The automated announcement system followed, broadcasting an urgent message about a fire in the building, though nobody could see smoke or flames. Outside, the playground and parking lot filled with students, parents rushing in, and a growing sense of chaos that seemed impossible to contain. The local fire department arrived swiftly, scanning the building with hoses ready and ladders extended. After thorough inspection, they found nothing. No smoke, no fire, no hazard of any kind. The alarms had been triggered artificially. The principal was bewildered, unable to explain the sudden disruption, and staff whispered nervously among themselves. Parents demanded answers, some angry, others terrified. Students exchanged rumors, speculating about what could have caused such a precise, convincing scare. Nobody suspected the truth, that a single 14-year-old had orchestrated the entire event from a bedroom miles away, quietly observing the chaos unfold online. Alex watched with a mix of excitement and disbelief. The prank had worked perfectly. Every alarm, every announcement, every panic-stricken glance had occurred exactly as imagined. But the thrill of success brought a dangerous temptation. The first strike was only the beginning. The satisfaction of controlling events on such a large scale was addictive. The possibilities of reaching more schools, creating bigger disruptions, and watching the town scramble to respond were irresistible. Alex spent hours reviewing the system's responses, analyzing which parts of the program were flawless and which could be improved for the next attempt. By the end of the day, the news spread beyond the school, and whispers of a mystery alarm grew louder. Local media began covering the incident, sharing clips of students evacuating and interviews with confused staff. Willow Creek was unsettled, its residents uneasy about the vulnerability of their schools. Alex, however, remained hidden in the shadows, already imagining the next target. Each detail of the plan had been perfected, and the thrill of uncertainty, the fear of being caught, added to the excitement. What had begun as a harmless curiosity had now grown into a carefully calculated operation capable of manipulating entire schools. The line between mischief and chaos blurred, and nobody could predict just how far Alex would push the limits of this unprecedented prank. The chaos didn't stop with Jefferson Middle School. In the weeks that followed, more schools across Willow Creek fell victim to the mysterious alarms and automated messages. Each disruption was executed with alarming precision, creating a sense of unease that spread through students, teachers, and parents alike. At Lincoln High, the fire alarms rang during a critical exam period, sending teenagers scrambling into the halls mid-test. At Roosevelt Elementary, an urgent announcement instructed students to evacuate immediately, despite the absence of any danger. The town struggled to keep up. Authorities were baffled, unable to explain why multiple schools were experiencing nearly identical incidents. Every investigation led to dead ends, and the pressure on school administrators intensified with each new disruption. Alex, from a quiet bedroom miles away, continued refining the program that made these events possible. Each alarm, each message, each moment of panic became an experiment in timing and control. The thrill of watching entire schools respond to a single command was intoxicating, fueling a deeper obsession with the project. What had started as curiosity now felt like a game of power, a test of ingenuity, and a way to command attention in a town that had long overlooked a quiet 14-year-old. The effects rippled far beyond the schools themselves. Parents were forced to take time off work, emergency responders were stretched thin, and the media began to speculate about a potential threat. Rumors swirled, some feared a terrorist attack. Others suggested a coordinated act of cyber-sabotage. Anxiety grew among students who had once thought the alarms were amusing pranks. The initial thrill had evolved into real-world consequences, and Willow Creek began to feel less like a calm suburban town and more like a community under siege by an unseen force. Meanwhile, Alex's sense of invincibility grew. The program was improved to bypass certain security measures, allowing alarms and announcements to be triggered without leaving digital traces easily detected by authorities. Each success reinforced a dangerous belief that the consequences of discovery were minimal compared to the thrill of control. Yet, the scope of the chaos was growing, and the stakes were rising. Teachers and principals were on edge, authorities were desperate for answers, and the town was slowly unraveling under the weight of uncertainty. Alex had become the invisible hand controlling fear, demonstrating just how far a single, curious mind could push the limits of technology and human reaction. The prank reached its breaking point one crisp autumn morning. 3 schools, Jefferson Middle, Lincoln High, and Roosevelt Elementary, were forced to close simultaneously after alarms blared in a perfect, coordinated sequence. Students spilled into the streets, parents hurried in panic, and the fire department scrambled to respond to what now appeared to be a town-wide emergency. The sheer scale of the chaos stunned everyone. Teachers struggled to maintain control as children cried and confused staff tried to piece together what was happening. Parents' anger and fear boiled over. Local media descended on the town, broadcasting scenes of evacuated playgrounds and panicked hallways. Willow Creek had never experienced anything like it, and the community was teetering on the edge of hysteria. Authorities intensified their investigation. Patterns emerged in the timing and method of the disruptions, suggesting that the incidents were neither random nor accidental. Digital forensics teams analyzed every alert, every automated message, and every system vulnerability. Slowly, clues began pointing toward a single source: the young person. With access to the systems and knowledge of technology precise enough to bypass standard security measures, The possibility that the culprit could be a teenager seemed almost impossible. No one wanted to believe that one student could hold so much influence over the schools and the town's emergency systems. Meanwhile, Alex watched from home, exhilaration still mingling with unease. The thrill of control had never been stronger, yet a quiet tension began to creep in. The prank that had once seemed harmless now carried consequences far beyond imagination. Every siren, every evacuation, every confused glance from a teacher was amplified by the knowledge that authorities were closing in. Alex had underestimated the scale of what was unfolding. What began as mischief had evolved into a level of disruption that could not easily be undone, and the weight of responsibility, however unintended, loomed heavily. When investigators finally traced the digital footprints to a single laptop, the revelation sent shockwaves through the community. It was Alex, the quiet, seemingly ordinary 14-year-old who had orchestrated the entire series of events. The town, once skeptical of rumors, now faced the uncomfortable truth. One young mind had managed to manipulate entire schools with nothing more than curiosity, ingenuity, and a laptop. The consequences were inevitable. The sense of control that had fueled the prank was replaced by dread. As Alex confronted the reality that a harmless joke had escalated into a serious legal and social crisis, the boundaries between fun and danger had blurred, leaving the town of Willow Creek to reckon with the unprecedented chaos a single teenager could unleash. The aftermath of the prank left Willow Creek reeling. Alex Turner, once seen as a clever but harmless teenager, now faced serious consequences for actions that had temporarily paralyzed an entire town. Schools remained closed for days as authorities conducted security audits. Parents attended emergency meetings, and students tried to process the sudden chaos that had erupted in their daily routines. News outlets covered the story extensively, portraying Alex as both a prodigy and a cautionary tale. Social media buzzed with speculation. Videos of evacuated hallways went viral, and debates ignited over whether curiosity, mischief, or recklessness had caused the disruption. Though the pranks had been digital in nature, their impact was very real. Teachers had to rebuild trust with students who had grown anxious and fearful. Administrators invested in advanced security systems, updating fire alarms, automated messages, and digital access controls. Emergency responders reflected on how stretched thin they had been during the incidents. Realizing that a single individual's actions could create widespread panic, parents, once confident in the safety of their children's schools, were left questioning how one teenager had managed to exploit so many weaknesses. The town collectively experienced a mix of relief that no physical harm had occurred and unease over the vulnerability exposed by Alex's pranks. For Alex, the consequences were sobering. Legal authorities treated the incident seriously, citing the disruption of public institutions, potential endangerment, and digital tampering. Alex faced juvenile court proceedings, mandatory community service, and strict monitoring of computer use. The initial thrill of control and mischief gave way to reflection and regret. Friends and family supported Alex, but the weight of responsibility for the chaos was unavoidable. The experience became a powerful lesson in the consequences of curiosity and tempered by caution. Despite the punishment, Alex's story also sparked conversations about talent and potential. Many recognized that the same skills used to cause disruption could, if guided properly, become tools for innovation in technology, cybersecurity, or programming. Teachers and mentors encouraged channeling intelligence and creativity into constructive projects rather than mischief. Willow Creek gradually returned to normal, though the memory of the chaos lingered. The story of Alex Turner became a cautionary tale and a lesson for the community. Curiosity and cleverness, when unchecked, can create consequences far beyond intention. One teenager's actions had shut down schools, stressed emergency responders, and unsettled an entire town, proving that even the smallest hands can wield immense influence. It was a stark reminder that intelligence, power, and opportunity carry responsibility, and that the line between harmless fun and serious disruption can be dangerously thin.